Ivan was alone in the castle. His wife, the fair and fierce princess, had gone to war with her armies. She had left Ivan just one instruction. He was not to climb the tallest turret of the tallest tower. Weeks passed, and Ivan grew bored. He remembered his wife's command, but his curiosity conquered all. Ivan climbed the tallest turret of the tallest tower. At the top, he found a chamber, and within, a starving prisoner. "Please, water." Ivan was moved by the sight and fetched a cup of water. The prisoner drank it all, but then he suddenly transformed. For the prisoner was none other than the dreaded Kochei the Deathless. "You fool!" he cried. "Now you will never see your wife again." With that, he bounded through the open window and swept like a whirlwind into the sky. And soon, he would have the princess in his grasp. If he was ever to rescue his beloved wife, a long and dangerous adventure lay ahead. Ivan's quest had begun. The story of Ivan and Kochei the Deathless is an old Slavic tale. But all human beings are storytellers. Throughout history and across civilizations, humans have told one another stories. Stories of good and evil, of great deeds and lost causes, stories of our past, our futures, and who we are now. Stories are a way we explore what it means to be human. We live today in a culture saturated with narrative and story. But in the days before mass media, the internet, film camera, even the printing press, the need for story was no less. When the ability to read and write was given to very few, tales were spread by word of mouth. With each telling, a detail here might change, or something there might be forgotten and replaced with something new. And in this process of mutation, these stories became something else. Something not stemming from one mind or one pen, but something instead that was the product of a collective, of a particular people at a particular place and time. They became myth. Ivan journeyed on through forests and valleys until one day he came upon a wondrous palace hidden among the trees. As he neared its gates, he was watched from the branch of a lofty oak tree. For this was the home of the Falcon Wizard. Ivan explained his quest to him. The wizard knew of Kochei and the danger Ivan faced. He promised help if ever it was needed. Ivan continued on his quest. In the days that followed, he met an eagle wizard, then a raven wizard too. Both made the same promise to Ivan. He would need all their help to succeed in his quest and rescue the lost princess. Heroes cannot do it all alone. Sometimes they will have to rely on the wisdom and aid of others to triumph. And sometimes these helpers are in disguise, sometimes they possess magical powers, and sometimes they go on to become as famous as the heroes themselves. Ivan had found his captive wife at last, but the demon holding her was too fast. Try as he might, Ivan could never catch them. Kochei the Deathless had a magical steed whose legs outpaced the wind. The exhausted Ivan finally gave up the chase. It was then that Kochei attacked. Ivan was no match for the strength of the giant. Kochei chopped him into pieces, bound him in a barrel, and pitched him into the sea. Far away, Ivan's wizard friends sensed his plight. They rescued the barrel and put Ivan back together again. He could never outpace Kochei, they said, not without a magical horse, and those could only be found beyond thrice 9 lands and a river of fire at the home of the Baba Yaga. His quest was far from over. But at last, he knew how he could save his beloved wife and defeat the demonic giant. For a hero like Ivan to succeed, he must overcome a series of often dangerous tests. Joseph Campbell called this stage the Road of Trials. Here, these perilous, for an audience, exciting encounters challenge the hero, who is often aided by magical helpers or thwarted by new enemies. But with every victory and setback, our hero is learning and preparing for greater tests to come. Hungry and faint, he walked on and on. Until at last, Ivan came to the house. 12 poles stood in a circle around it. On all but one was stuck a human head. This was the home of the Baba Yaga. "You've come for my horses," said the old woman. "Well, you can take one if you're fast enough. I'll give you 3 days to find them. Fail, though, and I'll put your head on a spike." Ivan had no choice. The Baba Yaga's mares, however, were just as fast as promised. They hid from Ivan in every corner of the woods. It was only with the help of friends made and lessons learned on his quest that Ivan succeeded. At the end of the 3 days, he left the enraged Baba Yaga on the back of a new steed. Ivan willed the magical creature on towards a reunion with the princess and a final confrontation with Kochei the Deathless. The ordeal is the greatest test of the hero. The risk of failure or even death hangs over them. Ivan survives the ordeal and is rewarded, and in other tales, the hero must slay a minotaur, journey to the underworld, or, as in the Icelandic saga of the Volsungs, survive an encounter with a great and terrible dragon. Ivan and the princess raced away from Kochei. The demon, however, was close on their heels. But Ivan would not be defeated this time. Just as Kochei was closing in, Ivan swung his club high and hard. Kochei the Deathless was dead. Ivan's quest was at an end. His beloved wife was safe at last. The giant's body burned on a pyre. As Kochei's ashes scattered to the winds, Ivan and his princess returned on their magical steed to the castle in the woods. There they ruled in peace and happiness forevermore. Successful in returning from the special world, our hero returns not only with the object of his quest, but with the newfound wisdom and self-knowledge required to build a better life. A new status quo is born in the ordinary world. And so the hero's journey comes to an end. The idea of a common humanity reflected in the hero's journey remains an attractive one in an often divided world. But as this series will show, the realm of myths and monsters is far too strange and fascinating for one model to contain. In the long history of humanity, and in the deep recesses of our collective imaginations, there are far more stories for us to explore. Stories of magic and wonder, of love and betrayal, of sacrifice and cruelty. the world we know and the great mysteries that lie beyond.